Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. It is Sunday night. It's weird because it's Oscars night. If I seem distracted at all, it's because I have the end of the show up right now, seeing the big awards start. They're doing in memoriam currently, so it's a little bit easier to talk to you guys. But the reason I'm talking to you guys during the Oscars is because there's another thing that happens on Sunday nights that happened at 9:00, and I watch the award shows religiously, but I tend to have issues, a lot of times with certain selections, and I'm sure there have been some snubs that I haven't found out about yet. But this year, specifically with Everything Everywhere All at Once, I really was like, it was hard to not watch it. But this show demands my attention the minute it drops. What am I talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair? Take a seat. We are getting ready to dive in one last time, spoiler free, into HBO's The Last of Us. Season 1, we're doing episode 9, the finale, Look for the Light, and it should be no shock to you. Once again, Craig Mazin crushed it. This episode, it delivered exactly what I was looking for, man. The end of the game, like, it's a 40, spoilers, but this was already out in the world, is a 45-minute episode. And I continually am amazed with what they're able to pull off in these short chunks of time, right? Like, whether it's a 45 or a 50-minute up, like, they pull off so much. And the end of the game in and of itself, like, once you get past Ellie killing David, it is a fairly quick run, It's like, hey, we got to travel a little bit more to get to Utah. We get to the hospital, stuff goes down, and the game's over. And I gotta say, they did a really good job. You obviously had to trim some things down, you had to consolidate some things, but as it's been all season long, I thought all of the consolidations and trims and slight tweaks were all justified and made sense and worked within the episode. Like, I think one of the other things, right? Like, I've heard people say, "Oh man, you're moving too fast," or like, "Slow down because we're skipping over gameplay stuff that's really cool to the game players." The one thing that this show has not had an issue with all season is feeling like it's dragging its feet or moving too slow. The pacing every episode is perfect, whether it's a shorter episode or a longer episode. The pacing makes almost all the episodes feel the same length, and that's some genius craftsmanship, some writing, some filmmaking. Like, you're getting really good stuff here. And yeah, I mean, whether you think they rush certain things or not, I'm not one of those people. I think every decision they made honored the game correctly. You got every moment that needed to be, for me, adapted perfectly, was adapted spot on. And the tweaks, the changes, the adds just enhance the story and what the essence is, right? That's the genius to every episode of the show to this point, is that you're wanting to recreate the things that are important, the moments that hit, right? Like Ellie pushing Joel and really giving it to him when she realizes that he just is trying to pass her off and isn't going to finish this journey with her. Or so it seems, because then that obviously changes things. But, like, whether it's that, whether it's the Riley episode, whether it's Sam and Hank, Hank works too, but Sam and Henry, like, there are certain moments that had to be spot on nailed, and they have done it all season. They do it here. The moments that they choose to pick are the perfect ones. Video game players, I mean, it's not a spoiler, but, like, the things you're looking forward to, I think, in this episode, you should be excited for. There is an element this time around that we've kind of seen them move past or jump past, and they kind of address it and kind of go through with some of it. But the way in which they do decide to go, hey, let's handle some gameplay stuff that we haven't been handling, really, really emotionally impactful. And that's the thing that I think really drives this episode for me. While it doesn't at any one point in time have me bawling my eyes out like other moments have, I mean, there are beautiful happy tears, there are some sad tears, like, the emotional swings and vibes that you feel in this episode, like, just dead center a lot. And we've seen Ashley Johnson in the trailers to play, Ellie's mom, Anna, and she's magical. I mean, it brought tears to my eyes watching her execute what they were asking her to execute. it's one of these things where if you're unaware, there's a comic book run. I believe it's 4, and if it's not 4, it's 6. But I think it's 4 issues that kind of chronicle a little bit of Ellie's time when she first gets to the Fedra school. So they kind of take some of the stuff from that and insert that into the Ellie and Riley episode at the top. And then there are kind of elements of the Riley and Ellie story from the game that are kind of mirrored or similar in the comic book run, but you end up getting to a point where we get to see Ellie's first interactions with Marlene, and Marlene gives her a letter, and she's like, you need to understand that your mom sacrificed everything to keep you safe. And getting to see that moment and knowing that the woman who gave us Ellie gets to live that moment for her mother, that's the antithesis of our story. Like, it was just so cool, and she crushed it, man. And then when it comes to just the emotional stuff that Pedro and Bella are dealing with in this episode, I mean, where we ended last episode, there's a lot on Bella's mind, or Ellie's mind, and Bella does an excellent job, I think, with how she interprets where Ellie would be and how she would be dealing with things, and her emotional swings and switches in this like stretch for me is just like it's so fun to watch, because like it's emotionally heartbreaking. You understand how it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, like, you're getting these moments where like the game tees her up moments to be a little kid and to be kind of just that innocent like kid, and the mixture of that and the way that Bella handles it in this episode is just sublime. And for video game fans, you obviously know how this thing ends, and the execution of that moment, which is something that is very much all here. Man, oh man, does she crush it. And when you talk about Pedro, I mean, Joel's got some heavy things on his mind, and he's grappling and dealing with some heavy things, and how that impacts him and impacts him in the story. Like, Pedro is just excellent, and the things that we get from his story, like, we get a lot of from Joel, because Ellie is not in a place where she can kind of do that carrying part of their relationship. There's a little bit of a dynamic switch because Ellie's dealing with all the stuff that she dealt with, and she's a 14-year-old girl. And the execution from the two of them is just sublime. All season long, the execution from Mazin and Druckmann and what they've given to us with this story has been sublime. And what we physically and visually have gotten on the screen this whole season and in this episode is unbelievable. I mean, the recreations and the moments, like, there are moments that you can put down on paper that are identical and you can act out stuff and it works. But, like, there are other moments where it's like it has to look just like the game, and the ways that they find to recreate stuff is just unbelievable. And this set piece in particular, like, the hospital is a very iconic stretch of the game, and kind of going through that, and like I said, going through it in the way that they choose to do it with Joel, it is some fun stuff. So to nobody's surprise, another phenomenal episode of television wraps up a phenomenal season of television. So let's get the C-Maniacs up so I can watch the big awards get given out in the Oscars. Give this thing a score. Like I said, Mazin and Druckmann have crushed it all season, and I think the additions that you get here, and this isn't just Mazin. Like Mazin said, like, this story Neil already had. You know, he told it to, like, the piece with Anna. Like, he told that to Craig, and Craig was like, we have to shoot that. That has to be in the show. And thank God we finally got to see it, because that stuff is excellent. The adaptation of the game is just spot on, and the moments that you recreate, like, verbatim, are the right ones, and they hit so they just connect. And all the work that we've done all season, I think, really has a payoff in this finale. And the acting from Bella and Pedro is phenomenal. Merle Dandridge comes back, she's great. It's an episode that brings up a lot of things that you want to discuss, and it'll be really interesting to see how that leads into the future of the show and how we'll dissect and discuss the things that are brought up. But for me, from an adaptation standpoint, it's an obviously 5 out of 5. I think everything that they needed to nail from the finale piece of the game is there, and like I said, that addition with Anna, ooh man, it adds another layer, and adds another layer to Ellie's story, as well as making a really interesting comparison for Joel. There's really interesting things going on with that moment and what happens at the end, and how they connect and kind of dissect and discuss different topics that have been looked at all season. I just thought was really cool. And the cinematography and the score, that there's a cool like tonal shift in this episode, and a lot of that is driven by the score. And it's just one of those, like, you sit there and you watch it and you're just like, another perfect episode of television. 5 out of 5 for the Seaman. The season for me is a 5 out of 5, even though I didn't give it 5s every episode. As a season, it is 5 out of 5. And yes, sir, Daniels winning the best directors, as they should. Sorry, Mr. Spielberg. It's a wonderful movie. I loved The Fabelmans. But like, this is a movie that happens once. Like, this movie deserves to take everything that it's taking tonight. It is so earned it. And I can't wait to see Michelle Yeoh get best female lead actor. Oh God. But anyway, I want to know what you guys are thinking. You've heard everything I have to think on a non-spoiler side. I love this show. Everything about it for me has just been, it's like a blessing to get this and The Sandman within the same 365-day stretch. So, I got to turn it over to you guys, and I got to know how to hit, man. For the video gamers, I know that this hasn't hit for every gamer, but I feel like for most of them, it really has. How did you feel they wrapped it up? Did they do the finale of the game justice? I certainly think they did. And if you didn't play the game, what'd you think of the finale, man? Don't spoil anything. Don't give anything away. But did it hit? Did it connect? Are you pumped to see where we go next? Where are you? What are you thinking about? Spoiler free, but all of it down below. Good, bad, indifferent, on HBO's The Last of Us in general, and most importantly, episode 9. God, you'd think I would remember it by now. Look for the light. Put it in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer, reactions, you want to be here for my reactions, they'll be coming. I'll also have a kind of redux, one of those words where like I kind of like look back at the season and the last episode one more time, so I can kind of do the catch up things that I do normally in front of my reactions. You want to be here for any of that? We're getting ready to shift over to full coverage all the time for Pedro's other dad and adopted child, Mandalorian. You want to see my coverage there? You just dig my vibe. You want to give me a level of love and support? You haven't? Well, hey, come join C-Maniac Nation. Does all those things. Simple. Jump over there, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts. Until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down, I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace. Oh, you guys are still here. You snuck up on me. You must be looking for more of this guy. Well, I got 2 video options for you, man. Right up here and right over here. And if you want all those C-Man goodies, well, hey, come join the squad right on over there, and I'll catch you on the next one.